welcome back. Welcome back. This is our fourth episode of the Blerds. Last 2 weeks ago, we talked Star Wars. So I thought it was only right that we come in here and do some Star Trek, especially after watching the last episode of Picard. I am on a Star Trek high that I have not been on since Strange New Worlds. Be honest with you, Strange New Worlds looked like it was going to have to hold Star Trek up because Discovery can go. And seasons 1 and 2 of Picard can go. But season 3 seems to really bring it kind of home. So let's just start with 2009. They reboot the Star Trek series. Okay. I think everybody's a little bit more familiar with that. Well, I mean, obviously the hardcore trekkers know from 66 all the way up until, what we had our last little thing. Yeah, look at you. Yeah. Let's start with this. What was your first experience with Star Trek? It doesn't matter what timeline, what genre, when. Your first experience with Star Trek. I'm going to go with Marky Mark first.
Actually, so probably being a kid, watching the original 66 version, definitely in the reruns back in the late 70s, early 80s. Used to watch it at 6 o'clock. Can't remember what channel it was on. Fell in love with it. Loved every episode. And my favorite episode is the episode where Spock took over the ship so that he could take Pike back to the planet from the pilot episode. I absolutely love that one, and that's always going to be my favorite episode of the show. So that's where it started out for me.
Okay, that's a solid episode. The Pike taking his Spock taking Pike back to the planet. That was it the cage or the menagerie?
Right.
All right. Rashad, your favorite Star Trek?
My favorite Star Trek is Next Generation, but like
boo,
like but no, man. But like Mark was saying, I kind of grew up on it and watching it at my grandmother's house, the '66 version with Kirk and them, of course. And the first thing that stood out to me, that I was like, man, this dude Roddenberry, in the future, he includes everyone. Like, he's making an effort to show diversity from all angles, male, female, black, white, different races and everything, so that's one thing that stood out. Of course, you learned about Spock and different races within the Star Trek universe. But Next Generation, when I first started watching it, I was like, okay, this is going to be a knockoff for the original or not going to be as good. But in my opinion, it went beyond the original to me. So, I really liked it, especially with the Klingons being involved with, the Federation and stuff. Like, it was cool. So, but from there, I kind of watched Voyager a little bit, Deep Space Nine. What's the one with Bakula? Like the very first
Enterprise.
Yeah, Enterprise. Yeah, I regret not watching that because when I saw like a few episodes after it went off the air, I kind of regretted not watching it. But that's kind of my Star Trek experience, man.
All right, big man. Come on.
My fondest memories of Trek is in the 70s, early 80s, when there was only maybe 6 channels on television before MTV came along. And it was on a Saturday where, my mom and my dad didn't watch TV much with us other than Kung Fu Theater and what was it? Creature Feature on Saturdays. And so when we was on, when we would all be off, when my mom and dad was off on Saturday, when my dad was off, because my mom was a homemaker, my dad would be home and we would sit there and we would watch, cartoons on Saturday mornings. And after cartoons on Saturday, we would watch Creature Feature and Kung Fu Theater. We would all sit there and we would watch Star Trek. And like I said, it was one of those things where, as a family, we would sit there on Saturdays and we would watch Trek. And I remember it would be in one of the few shows back in the day that was color, because pretty much everything back then was black and white on TV. And I just remember us as a family all sitting there watching Star Trek. And I love seeing, for one, the color, but then also seeing us as a race of black people. We were in the future because Star Trek was in the 25th century or 24th century at the time. So to see Uhura on the screen with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, Bones, Chekhov, Sulu,
and
I'm
not
like,
serving coffee,
right? And she was integral. And the thing that I loved was the fact that she was integral. She was part of the show, not like you said, serving coffee, not a maid. She was part of the show, and I'm sitting there going like, wow. My eyes were blown wide open. My brain was blown wide open. And Kirk was my hero.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not Chekhov, not Scotty, but James Tiberius Kirk was my hero. And I'm sitting up there and look, I don't care what anybody could sit there and say. Nichelle Nichols was up there with Adrienne Barbeau, Jane Fonda.
She was fine. Come on now.
Oh my God, this woman was gorgeous.
She had some great legs too, didn't she?
Look, not just legs.
Fox.
Not just legs. Nichelle Nichols was from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. Nichelle Nichols was gorgeous. I'm sitting there going like, oh my God, he gets to kiss her? And I'm like,
that caused an uproar too, right?
I don't care because I'm sitting there going, oh my God.
Was that the first? Was that the first interracial kiss?
That was the first ever interracial kiss on television.
Yeah, and then Adam West and Eartha Kitt had the second, I think.
But what I'm saying though was the fact that, as a kid, I saw ourselves projected in the future, and I know the whole story about her and Martin Luther King, and she was right, and Martin Luther King was right. She needed to stay on television because I saw myself reflected in the future through her. Because other than that, we sat there and we were not really projected in the positive light on television at that time. You know what I'm saying? And so I look, again, I love Nichelle Nichols, but my hero was Captain Kirk. You know what I'm saying? I saw myself in this white man because at that time, this white man to me, Captain Kirk was not white. He was all of us. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy was all of us. To me, it was not about race. We're just a group of people out there amongst the stars trying to do what's right. And that's what I saw.
Hey, Bishop, you kind of felt like as a society they had evolved beyond racial issues.
Exactly.
So it never even was nothing to talk about. That's how society should be, right. So
and again, you're absolutely correct.
That's what attracted
me.
You know
how they did that, right? So they did that one thing where the guy was half black on one side and half white on the other. And Kirk was like, "I don't see a difference between you." He goes, "He's white on the right side."
That is one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. And look, you asked Mark what was his favorite episode. One of my favorite episodes. Of course, Amok Time is my favorite. Amongst all, my favorite episode is Amok Time, where Spock is sitting there. It's all about sex with Spock. Okay,
that 7-year itch,
right? But besides that, and I know this is not a popular episode, but one of my favorite episodes is what was it? Something to Eden,
What
where
you talking about where they were
the space
chanting
hippies. Look, I don't care what nobody say. You cannot dissuade me.
Yay, brother.
Look, hey,
What would they
hey,
call
look.
it, Spock?
When
A
Spock
Norman
was
or something like that?
when Spock was jamming with his Lurpa, not his Lurpa, his Vulcan harp, and he's jamming with the space hippies in the rec room. I'm telling you, that is one of my favorite episodes.
Herbert, that's what it was.
Look,
Herbert.
Herbert.
Kept calling him a Herbert.
And look, Kirk is like,
not
what
Herbert.
is Herbert, Spock? And Spock.
Yeah,
Look,
Bill.
Spock
My
is
boy.
the cool one. He's like, Captain Kirk, that is, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, look,
Hey.
regardless of what people say, Spock is one of the coolest characters of all times on television.
Of all the sci-fi, definitely.
On all of television.
Ooh.
You cannot take Leonard Nimoy away from the character of Spock, and you cannot take away from Spock of how cool Spock was, even though he was emotionless. He had no emotions.
Hey, what's the episode where Spock and Kirk went back in time to like it was a space shuttle launch or something, and Spock had the fisherman hat on.
Oh,
he was
you're
in
talking
disguise.
about I know what you're talking about. The one with the girl.
Gary 7?
Gary 7. Yes.
Yeah, that was a dope.
Yes.
That was a dope episode right there.
My favorite episode is Mirror Mirror.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite episode. I fell in love with that episode. Space Seed is my second favorite episode, and Trouble with Tribbles is my third.
Yeah, great episodes.
I knew somebody was gonna bring that.
Everybody loves Trouble with Tribbles, though, right? That's one of the best episodes
Look,
out
how
there.
can you not like that episode?
Well,
That's
look,
a great
now-
episode.
And then I also like, what was his name? The guy that bought the triples up there.
He smoked. They got some cargo for
Gary
him,
Mudd,
and the tribbles
wasn't
was in
Gary
there or
Mudd?
something.
Yeah, but when he had the girls, that he had all those girls that were supposed to be their love robots, and then they gave him his wife, like 7 of his wives. I
Yeah.
can't remember what episode that was, but I love that
Your mic's
episode.
off.
Your mic's
Your
off.
mic's off.
Oh,
Okay.
Gary Mudd.
Gary Mudd, yeah.
Yeah.
Now look, D wanted to know which was a better show, DS9 or Voyager?
DS9.
And he
DS9.
also wanted to know which was the best Star Trek movie, and I said Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan would probably be
Wrath
the
of
best
Khan.
Star Trek movie.
Wrath of Khan was the hardest.
Yeah, that was probably the best movie, but my favorite movie would be episode 4, The Voyage Home. I just watched that again last night because I absolutely love that, just watching that movie. So,
And as a Star Trek fan, and Calibus and I have talked about this, I think as the older I get, the motion picture becomes better and better and better.
Okay, but with the motion
The very
picture,
first
we
one?
know so
Yes.
much more.
That's
now.
again, like I said, the older I get, the more I understand how integral the motion picture is, because for those who have a passing familiarity with Star Trek, they're just, oh no, that movie is garbage. No, the motion picture is all about what comes later is all about the Borg.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that this is the introduction of the Borg. And the Borg play a huge part all about the next generation.
In the future,
And for
yeah.
for those who are fans of Picard, this is everything. Because without the motion picture, you don't have the Borg.
Yeah, the Borg was dope. So hold on.
Because
Borg.
the Borg is the end all be all of Next Generation.
Voyager
Right.
Goes to this planet of machines and teaches him. That's where the mistake is made. And then, of course, we get Q, who wants to teach Picard a lesson and introduces the Borg.
Right. And look, that's all because of Picard, because Picard and his arrogance.
Yeah.
And what does Q do? Oh, you think you know space? You think you're beyond this? I'm going to introduce you something and show you that you aren't shit, basically. And
So what is it?
He introduces the Borg to them, and the Borg at that point are the antagonists for everything that's after that.
So what's your opinion of between Next Generation and the original series? I mean, because I know that you said Captain Kirk is your hero, so am I asking that question?
Look, Calibus and I have been talking about this ever since we watched.
Next Generation was hard.
Calibus and I have been talking about this ever since we saw season 3 of Picard.
Mm-hmm.
And as a fan of the original series, I hate saying this. Picard now comes a close second. You know, it's to me, it's up there with DS9. You know, Picard, seeing Riker and Picard together
as old men.
That is like seeing Riker. That is like seeing Kirk and Spock and McCoy together.
You get the same vibe.
Yes, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. I mean, seeing old Picard and Riker together again after about 20-something years. They have not skipped a beat. They are like best of friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's like seeing Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. When you sit there and you watch them sitting there having a campsite and they're singing "Row, row, row your boat," you know, at the campsite, they're the best of friends.
It's a marshmallow.
Yes.
So some of the characters have now become admirals of their own, right?
Yeah.
Right, because I think is 7 of 9 on that show?
7 of 9 is on the show, and
she is awesome.
Admiral too. She is awesome. She is absolutely
she always
awesome.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Geordi? Is he admiral?
No, Geordi's not an admiral. We have not seen Geordi yet in Picard.
But we have seen Geordi's daughter.
Yes, we have seen Geordi's daughter. Yes.
Ensign LaForge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, Rashad, Debbie said hi.
Who's
the better villain? Q or the Borg?
Oh, I always go with Borg, man.
Yeah, Q is just more of a nuisance.
He's like Mixoplick, man, and DC like the Superman.
Okay.
You know,
I'll give you that.
That's a filler. He's good for filler episodes, a challenge, you know. But he ain't. Come on, man.
Well, you know,
he's more your friend. He's more your friend than your enemy. You know, he's trying to be fun with you. But if it's a real threat, he's gonna jump on your side and help you. You know.
Yeah, because I wouldn't consider him a villain at all.
I wouldn't consider him a villain. I think he's an antagonist.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, he's all about himself, but he's at the end of the day, he's there to teach you something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I felt like sometimes he on that Beyonder vibe. He just bored and want to have some fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, he just come and shake your world up. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you know, he's your friend. He's not your antagonist. I mean, he's not your enemy. He's your antagonist, but he's there to teach you something. But at the same time, it's at his expense. I'm going to have fun. Look, it's all at the end of the day, it's all about me. But I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to teach you something along the way. And that's the way I see who Q is.
Yeah, but I'm like Cisco, punch him in the face. So
hey, why not?
We got Mr. Whitaker here saying that Kirk is his favorite captain, but he's learned something from all the other captains. That they bring something to the table. We got Jedi Joe asking us, do you need to understand season 3 without watching the others? No, you do not. And that's the best thing about it.
That is the greatest thing about it. And
just pick it up.
There was a lot of mixed reviews about that show when it first came out.
Yes,
so I know
sir.
3 seasons in. I mean, is it on track now, or was it?
Oh yeah.
Look, this is where they should have started.
Season 3 picks up like seasons 1 and 2 never even happened.
Exactly.
Now they drop little hints about 1 and 2, but you don't even need to, you know what I mean? You can just pick it up. It's only 2 episodes right now.
Are seasons 1 and 2 bad?
Yes.
Well, no.
Come on, don't lie.
2 is horrible. One is not bad. One is not bad.
Yeah, you can kind of look through 1, but
2 is horrible.
Yeah. Stuff that they brought in that they didn't need to bring into it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, I was watching Discovery. I made it through like 1. I think I might have made it to 3 seasons.
Okay.
I don't think I may not have completed all 3 seasons because I had some type of interruption, but I was digging I like the girl from Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Michael Vernon.
Yeah, Michael Vernon. Right. But what really attracted me to the show that made me watch it was when they went back through the history of the Klingon Takuvma and how he unified the houses. I had never knew really much about like the Klingon history like that, and I thought that was dope.
Rashad, let me as a Star Trek fan, let me say this. Bullshit.
Well, wait a minute now. Look, I have to interrupt you because they finally cleared up that mess.
Yes, they cleared it up.
But
so that was all wrong or something?
Oh,
no.
Do you know we were as fans? You know, we devour anything that we know, and as me being a Klingon fan, there was a certain way that certain things went.
Okay.
And then Discovery came along and just wrecked it. They had no clue what Star Trek was. Then they brought in story editors at the last couple of shows at the end of season 1.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like Star Trek 2009, where you can transport from a planet to another. No, that's not how the transporter works.
Oh, transporting in light speed and everything like that.
It was really horrible.
Yeah.
It was really horrible. But then what they go back to say is these Klingons are from a Klingon, like a sect, an ancient house.
Okay.
They basically went and did their own thing, and then they tried to come back in to take over.
Basically, I would say this. Rashad. Watch the episodes of the Klingons on Voyager, because in Voyager you learn about Kanu Singh, how the Singh family, how they were integral to the
you mean Enterprise?
Was it Enterprise or was it?
It was Enterprise.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Enterprise. Okay. Sorry. How
many seasons did Enterprise run?
There were like 6.
4? Was there 4?
No, it was only 4.
4
seasons.
It was 4 of them.
Yeah. Just as Enterprise was getting good, that's when they canceled it.
Yeah.
But you need to go back and watch that. You sit and you learn about how the Klingons, how they were genetically modified. There are a group, not all.
The virus.
Right. There was a virus that broke out, and how it genetically modified some of the Klingons. That's why when you sit and you look at the original series, the 1966 series of 66 series of Star Trek, how they look a certain way.
They look much different.
Right. And then when you sit and you look at Next Generation, they have the ridges.
Right.
They explained that in Enterprise.
Oh, okay. How the evolution took place amongst the race.
Yeah, there was an evolution.
So it was like a genetic experiment or something?
It was a genetic virus.
There was a virus.
Right.
And the only way to cure the virus and the Klingon people was to give them this medication, but it made them lose their ridges.
Right.
So to this day, if you say your mother has a smooth forehead as a Klingon, that's an insult.
And then look, and when you sit and you watch DS9,
right,
there's an episode called Trouble with Tribbles, where Worf goes back in time with Cisco Dax,
Tribbles
O'Brien.
and trialations, my brother.
What is
Tribbles and trialations?
Also, Tribbles and Tribulation.
Yeah.
Where they go back in time, where they go back from the 25th century to the 24th century.
Damn good episode.
And you sit there and you see Worf is sitting there at the table with O'Brien, Bashir, and
Odo.
And Odo. And they're looking at they're sitting there they're on Space Station K7 with Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and all of them, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy, the guy that's the bartender, he's like those are Klingons. And you sit there and you see Miles O'Brien, Bashir, and you see Odo, and they're like, Klingons? Those don't look like Klingons. And they look at Worf, and Worf's like, he turns his head and he puts his head down. We don't like to talk about it. So Worf addresses it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so you get it, from a Klingon, that there was this genetic mutation that happened.
Right.
So, like I said, you basically need to watch all of Trek to get the nuances that are going on.
Okay.
And again, like I said, and look, Tribbles and Tribulation is one of the greatest episodes of all Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because you get to see Cisco and Jadzia Dax, O'Brien, Bashir, and Worf, even Worf, and Odo, who are all from the 25th century, go back to the original Trek.
Right.
And they're integrated. They're integrated. They're integrated within that.
Matter of fact, Cisco talks to Kirk.
And look, Cisco actually goes back in time and talks to Captain Kirk.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And look, it is one of the greatest episodes of all of Trek.
It was a pretty good episode. I know Cisco had an issue with the shirt he had to wear when he went back in time.
Right.
Well.
Yeah. And Bashir and all
and
of
the
them.
combat, remember?
Yeah.
I forgot.
All of that.
And he whips out the communicator.
Like I said, all of and look, and the
uniform and the technology changed.
And one of the greatest things about that episode is Jadzia Dax, because she lived through that time period. She was actually alive during that time period. And she's talking to Cisco because her and Cisco have such an intimate relationship. And she's sitting there talking to Cisco. Oh, I remember how sleek the communicator was, and this time, and this, that, and the other. And she's sitting there looking at, oh, he's such a ladies' man. And Cisco looks back at her. Kirk, Kirk has this reputation. She's like, not Kirk, Spock. And Cisco looks at her. He's like, let's go, because she was getting turned on by Kirk. I mean, she was getting turned on by Spock.
Look, gentlemen, one of the best things I've ever gotten.
That is one of the greatest things from all of Trek.
It does the whole thing. It's Bluetooth. Wow. It pairs to your phone.
Yep.
You can talk on it.
You can talk on it, bro.
And look, where do you think cell phones came from?
Yeah.
That's where cell phones came from.
iPads came from that show too.
Yep.
Yeah. The D-pad, the Picard them had.
One of my homeboys always said that the idea of the cell phone came from Maxwell Smart. He says that to this day. He knows us where the idea for the cell phone came from.
Look, Maxwell Smart and the cone of silence.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should have known someone had some.
We got what's the best ship out of all the shows, all the movies. So it's not game wise. This is
Enterprise.
You wouldn't say the Defiant, because that's your ship.
No. The Defiant is my ship, but the most iconic ship in look. I don't care what you say about Star Wars. I don't care what you say about Firefly. I don't care what you say about any show. The most iconic ship of all ships outside of the USS Enterprise that the Navy has is the USS Enterprise.
Constitution class, not
Constitution
bloody
class.
A,
And
B,
look,
C, D,
not A,
E,
not
or
B,
F.
not C.
So
But
the
if you
Enterprise is much more popular than the Millennium Falcon. That's what
Well,
you're
if
trying
you sit there and you look at history, there was a ship, from the 1800s, the USS Enterprise.
Yeah.
to say.
There is
Been around
the
for a while.
there is the United States there's the United States carrier, military carrier, the USS Enterprise, and then you have the USS Enterprise, the
Spaceship.
from NASA.
Yeah, the spaceship.
Then you have
Mm.
the USS Enterprise, which is the NCC 1701, not A, not B, not C, and damn not D, the Enterprise. So you tell me,
Actually,
what is the most famous ship from, what is the most famous Enterprise?
Yeah.
Well, he's not saying what was the most famous. He was like saying what was the best ship.
Well, no, to me, the best ship is the
most
Enterprise.
popular.
I think still I like. Well, my wife likes B. I like B when I first saw A, and you got the saucer section. I thought that was the most iconic thing, even though they only used it in the original episode until what is it? The 2009. They used it on that movie, and I was hyped about that again.
Oh yeah.
That was dope.
I love that part of the show. And like you said, all of the Enterprise. If you watch the TV show Enterprise, they show you every Enterprise ship that they've ever made at the beginning of it, so you can see all of the Enterprise.
Oh yeah, right.
It is an iconic ship. Millennium Falcon is still a better ship, but but other than that, I'm okay with the Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean it's a faster ship, but it ain't going toe to toe with no Constitution class.
True that.
No.
True that.
That's one thing I love it because Star Wars fans, we're passionate about certain stuff, and I always tell them, I was like, yeah, but you're not holding a candlestick to Trek technology. Your weapons is just not. It's just not there. It's just not there. You have the more popular series. We've got the better weapons. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So the evolution of now the Klingons. Was it good to see Worf? Did you guys like that when he came in there and he took that head? I thought this was Highlander. Boy, that head rolled. I was like, oh.
So hold on. Did everybody watch the latest episode of Picard?
I did not.
I have.
I'm in the dark, but you guys gave me a homework list and didn't quite complete it.
Well, look, you gave me heads up on Ant-Man, so I'm gonna be a little wary. I'll take my time. I won't.
No, it's cool. I'm gonna watch it anyway, so it's cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can speak freely about it.
Look, we got Jedi Joe with his Millennium Falcon, which is
Now, look.
I'm with him. I'm with him. I know you're not going up against my Enterprise.
Calibus, I know as a Star Trek fan, that is your ship. And look, I'm a Star Trek fan, and I'm sitting there going like, the Millennium Falcon is a badass ship. As a Star Trek fan, I mean, that's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy.
For real. Did the Kessel running 9 parsec?
Right. Look, hey, that's the baddest space station in the galaxy.
Yes, sir.
That's sweet.
Yes, sir. But
with a man called Hawk as the captain.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
And that was one of the.
Worf
drove me to the Klingons. But when I saw old boy, I was like, "Ain't that Hawk?" And I was like, "Oh Lord, I don't know about this."
I gotta watch it. But I had to watch it,
especially when he came back and he shaved his head.
Look,
that boy.
Hold on. What did I tell you?
That man was on.
I told you. I said, "Look, you need to watch DS9."
Yeah, DS9 was dope
because Cisco was not playing from episode 1. And look, it was cheesy. I'll admit it. But Cisco, the thing I liked about look, Calibus and I've had this discussion since day one. And Captain Kirk will always always be my man. Okay, but nobody except for Kirk can come on top or come in first place other than Cisco. You know what I'm saying? Cisco, and look, Picard, Janeway, Archer are all second fiddle to Captain Cisco. Cisco is the man, but Kirk is the man. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the thing that made me mad about Cisco was we're going to have these shows about all these captains, okay? And then you get to Cisco and you make him a commander. He earns the rank of captain.
Right.
Then he gets to be the emissary.
Emissary to the prophets.
And then they take the man and they launch him out in space and they leave him because Rick Berman wanted to kill him.
Right.
Wow.
They wanted to kill off his character.
Oh, they wanted the writers or something?
Oh, well, they really didn't care for the character, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's a lot of Star Trek. There's like the 50 years of Star Trek. It's on an audiobook on Amazon.
Okay.
You guys really want some dirt? You go listen to that because these are the people they interviewed and they have them talking about their experience. As a matter of fact, on the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, I got to talk to Terry Farrell. And let me tell you, I love Captain Kirk. I met William Shatner. I got William Shatner to autograph my autobiography of James T. Kirk. I met Michael Dorn. He signed his autograph on a Worf and Jadzia wedding picture. Says happy birthday on it because the day I saw them, it was on my birthday. Terry Farrell, class act. This lady, and then she started giving us the dirt on what was going on, and I was like, wow. So then I downloaded the 50th anniversary. Man, there were some troubling times on that set on DS9. Very troubling times. And just the way they did Cisco, and now they bring him back in book and comic book form, which to me is a waste because the actor is definitely getting older. At least give us a cameo with him or something.
Yeah. Well, maybe, this will be a gauge in which that will lead to that, hopefully,
It'd be something. Yeah. But like I said, we got him in comic book form. As a matter of fact, Bishop said he was going out to the comic book store this weekend.
I apologize. I did not get there this weekend. But look, hey, like I told you, I will get you your copy.
Yeah, just at least get me book one so I can have that.
For you, though.
You know what I mean?
But the thing that pisses me off about Star Trek, and like Calibus and I have talked about this over the years because I was watching DS9 when it first aired. Calibus was not. Okay? And I kept telling Calibus, and I'm like, look, hey, you need to watch DS9.
Look, I saw that first episode, and I was like...
And look, the first episode sucks. The first episode sucks.
It's funny, because I haven't watched it either, so I'm in the same boat,
And look, I was telling Calibus, I said, yo, you need to watch this episode, because this character, Cisco, is amazing. Okay? I said, how often do we get a black captain on a TV show? Well, I mean, in Star Trek, other than what was his name?
It was the guy in the Wrath of Khan that when they
right.
I can't remember his name.
Terrell, wasn't it? Captain Terrell.
Wrath of Khan.
No, but what was his captain? What was the admiral's name?
The admiral. You mean Captain Terrell?
No, the admiral.
Could have been a captain.
Cartwright.
Admiral Cartwright. Admiral Cartwright. Cisco's father.
Oh yeah, y'all some true Star Trek fans, boy. Y'all remember
right. I kept telling Calvin.
Bro, look. I mean, before I was a fan, but before I was hugely into Star Wars. But see, Star Wars ended for me after Return of the Jedi. There was no more Star Wars.
And he
Okay.
and what
So
was,
I went back to Star Trek.
He was
dude,
Vader. He played Vader in the radio drama.
And the radio drama, he sure did.
Yes.
Yeah. But I was heavily into it. Me and Bishop, we started a Star Trek chapter. The only thing that really made it tough for us was that we were big fans, and when we would role play, nobody wanted to role play.
Right.
If you said Star Wars or D&D, you had people come out of the woodwork.
Everywhere.
You said Star Trek, oh, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a letdown, but we started a chapter united. We got the Star Trek Online game together. We played the beta. Then we played the game. And we're still playing the game, as a matter of fact. And that's where we get the Proud Warriors of Kronos from, because I was in the fandom for so long. There wasn't really, I couldn't find too much on Klingon stuff. So I made a page. And the next thing I know, my page goes gangbusters. It's good. It's up. And I kind of lost interest after some of the club stuff and the politics, because real world politics started creeping into what was going on. And then, of course, you had the old guard, the people that have been here since Next Generation.
Yeah,
I'm coming in.
Change.
Oh, yeah, they don't like change at all, bro. They hate change. Matter of fact, there's a group of Klingons that are old school men. They're not pushing for any type of change for women, to step up. You need that input. You need that, even if I disagree with someone that is basically on my staff. Okay. Matter of fact, I had this issue the other day. Somebody was telling me, yeah, we should do this and all that. I'm like, okay, noted. I got you. But I turned around and I invited the dude to join my staff, because this is not a dictatorship. This is a club for fandom. You have to be open to other people.
Right.
There's a lot of old guards that ain't trying that, man. They ain't trying to have that.
It's good to receive input, and that way you can kind of gauge the landscape and change where it's necessary.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. So
you got
that's important.
Jedi Joe. He was curious about Enterprise. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
For me, I like I said, I enjoyed Enterprise. I thought it was a great beginning. It did, I know it picked up in action at the end, right before it got canceled, when they did the Mirror Mirror universe. That was like one of the best episodes on the show, and then it was canceled. So that was kind of a letdown. I would have hoped to see where they were going to carry on with those characters. So that part, I'm a little disappointed. But I think, watch it. You're going to see a lot, like you said earlier, you're going to see a lot of beginning stuff that needed to be explained. And that way you can get an idea of where Star Trek, especially after, Zephyr Cochrane Day. So then you get that backstory as well. So that's something that you really need to see.
But did you know?
Go ahead.
That season 5 was going to be the Romulan War.
Right.
The start of the Romulan. Dude, you know how popular that show would have went from.
Right. Yeah. But again, for those of us who are people of color, watch season 1 of DS9 all the way through season 7. Watch Cisco's arc, because Cisco is a man who comes in who does not want to be this religious icon of these people of Bajor, right?
He don't even like Picard.
He hates Picard, because Picard is the reason his wife is dead. Okay, and he tells Picard, we met once before, and Picard is like, where did we meet? He's like, at Wolf 359
in battle.
And look, you sit there, you see Picard, who's this great captain. He goes back into his shell, and Cisco's like, all I need to know is of who you are. When we met at Wolf 359, and Picard is just like, damn. He kind of like cowers back. And Picard, who is captain, and Cisco, who is a commander. Picard is like, well, you don't want to be in command of the station. Picard is like, I'm sorry. Cisco's like, yes, I will do the best of my duties until I, decide otherwise or until I am relieved. And Cisco and Picard is just like, there's nothing I can say to this man. You know what I'm saying? And Picard becomes the subservient one to Cisco. Because Cisco tells him, with both barrels blazing, I am Starfleet. I am going to do the best of my duties until I am relieved. And he's like, and Cisco, and I'm sorry, and Picard is just like, okay. And Cisco walks out without being relieved. And again, he's commander, and Picard is captain. He's like, he just gets up and he just walks out. And Picard is just left there still pondering what he did as Locutus. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And from that point on, Cisco is not somebody to be trifled with. Nor is he an idiot, nor is he some slouch. You know what I'm saying? So the expectations of what Cisco and who he is laid right there at the meeting between him and Picard. And I'm sitting there going, and look, as somebody who watched Spencer for Hire, and I'm Man Called Hawk, I was aware who Avery Brooks was, and I kept telling Calibus, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. You need to watch this. Calibus said, Calibus did not get interested until who showed up?
Season 4.
When
Worf,
Michael Dorn,
Season 4,
a.k.a. Worf, shows up.
But I did, after I watched that from Season 4 to Season 7, I went back and I watched it. I liked his arc. His arc was good.
Right.
But
look, Cisco has one of the greatest arcs out of all of Star Trek. From beginning to end. But no, look, Worf has a great arc from Next Generation, because we all knew who he was when he came into Season 4. But Cisco, from Season 1 to Season 7, has this great arc of who he is, because for one, he doesn't shy away from who he is. And by the time Season 4 comes along, Cisco is the man.
Yeah, he is.
Look, when you sit there and you see him go from, he's got this
he had a fro. Yeah, he had a fro just about.
Look, when he shaves his head, and he's completely bald, this nigga is the man.
Look, he grew his gold teeth at that time.
He's bald headed, got the mustache and goatee like yours, like yours truly. This brother comes in and he's kicking ass and taking names.
Look, you know what I love too.
My favorite episode, my favorite phrase of all of Star Trek was when Ezri Dax, she's talking to Bashir. She's like, Worf, who is the Klingon's Klingon, was afraid of Cisco, not Kirk. Not Picard. She was like, Worf was afraid of Cisco. And what was it? You sitting, you're like, Worf? And she's talking to Cisco. And Cisco's like, what? And Ezri's like, oh, you like hearing that, don't you? And
he intimidates.
He laughs.
Not afraid, he intimidates.
He laughs. He laughs. He's like, Worf? And he kind of like, Worf is afraid of me. And she's like, yeah, Worf is intimidated by you. And he's like, no, not Worf.
My favorite scene was when he left DS9 and Gul Dukat went into his office and he looked down and goes,
my God.
"What's that?" A reminder that he'll be back, and it was
the baseball.
The
baseball. Look, for those of you who have not watched DS9, go back and watch DS9 from episode 1 all the way to the last episode of season 7. You will see a character who grows so much. He has the greatest story arc of any captain in Star Trek.
No, he does. It's a full story. Yeah.
Janeway, Archer, Kirk, Picard. None of them have the arc that Sisko has. And
That's
look,
true.
his arc is so great that one of the creators behind the show, Rick Berman, was trying to kill him. Yeah, and like Mr. Whitaker said, he punched Q. And what did he say? I'm not Picard.
Look, we could go on for hours with this. I obviously underestimated this subject matter.
Yes, you did.
Truly. Oh, damn. Okay. All right.
And it looks like, theoretically, we've only talked about, what is it, the original?
Yeah.
DS9 and Next Generation. You still haven't mentioned Lower Decks. No Lower Decks. What is new? The new movies. Discovery, Strange New Worlds.
Or Prodigy.
Okay. Prodigy. All right. Well, then we have to do a part 2.
Or the greatest show of all Trek, which is.
What is that?
The Orville.
Oh, the Orville.
Woo! I
have to say, the Orville has got.
Right now is mad at you, right? What?
Yeah, because the Orville has been on point since it was on Hulu.
The Orville has been on point since for episode 1.
Well, it's good, but it got great. It became great on Hulu.
Yeah.
But it was a good show to begin with.
Right. When they stopped trying to do all that comedy stuff, remember I kept telling you, I like it, but it's too much comedy.
Yeah.
And when they stopped that for that last 2 seasons, right? Right, Mark?
Yeah.
The last 2 seasons, man.
Yeah, it went to a whole nother level at that point, So,
I don't think we'll see it back, though.
They haven't said, I'm hoping.
What was that, Enterprise?
No,
the Orville.
The Orville.
Oh, the Orville. Oh, yeah, that's a dope show.
Yeah.
I watched the first season of that.
All right, so.
No. You need to watch the second season and the third season.
Yeah. I got a lot to catch up on, man.
You see that, Bishop? They asking you. Looks like Jack and Coke, Bishop.
Oh.
Yeah.
And look, the other show y'all need to watch, even though it's a kids show, Prodigy.
Prodigy
is amazing.
I did not like that show at all.
Oh my God, Prodigy is amazing.
But I absolutely love those last, whatever they would say, season 1.5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It just aired because they stopped being that kid show and it became an actual Star Trek show. But when it was a kid show and they were showing the kid stuff, I just sat there and looked at it, dreaded every episode that came on. But then they changed the storyline, and I loved it the way it ended. That was great.
Look, it to me, Prodigy is just like Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And look, I was telling Calibus.
Rebels was a dope show.
I said, Calibus, watch Star Wars Rebels. That kids show, I said, look, it's not a kids show.
Yeah, I didn't really watch any of them until after I sat there. The sequel trilogies were so bad.
Yeah, they were.
I went back and I started watching because I wanted to know more about the clones, so I watched Clone Wars, and I fell in love with the clones. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I started liking Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Because she was a pain in my ass at first. I was like, this is getting out of hand. And then I started loving her character. And then I went to Rebels. And Rebels was like, ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, she grew up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Jedi Joe, he likes Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is funny.
Straight up just a comedy, though.
But again,
Yeah, I can't do comedy with my Trek.
Yeah, I mean, it's
look,
straight up a comedy.
Calabas and I we've talked about this since Lower Decks was what they talked about Lower Decks. You know, and I'm like, for any of us who've watched the original series animated show, the animated show was, you know, they took it seriously.
Oh, they did. That was
right, and that's one of the things I loved about it.
Yeah.
So to sit there and you watch Trek from a comedic point of view, and I'm just like, I can't do this. It's like watching Futurama. It's like watching Futurama and The Simpsons.
Like watching Thor: Love and Thunder.
But yeah, you're like you're watching this comedy show, and it's like I'm like, okay, this is funny, but I don't want my Trek to be funny. I want my Trek to be.
The guys that did Rick and Morty, you know, and I'm a big Rick and Morty fan because
but I don't want my
Trek
turn
my brain off and just sit there, and every now and then I'll chuckle at some of the stupid stuff that goes on, but that's not where I want that in my Trek.
Right, I don't want my Trek to be. I don't want to turn my mind off for Trek.
He hasn't seen Prodigy. Go check out Prodigy.
Go watch Prodigy.
Yeah, Prodigy came out before Strange New Worlds did.
It is an anime. Yeah. It was actually designed by Nickelodeon for kids.
Yeah.
So that's what I didn't like because I knew it was for kids. But like I said,
but again,
it did get better. You know, it got
like Rebels. Rebels was designed for kids.
It was, and
I kept telling Calabas, I said, watch Rebels.
You know,
watch Rebels. Yeah,
it got better. It was a good show, but like you said, it was definitely for kids. And I hate when they put a cartoon out like that because it's for kids, but it's not for kids. The only people that are watching it are adults, and they may get their child to watch with them. So I hate when they do that, you know. But this one got way better. Rebels, you can still see that they had kid parts in it, but it was still an adult show. But they did have that kid moment. But this one, they started off for kids, but it's gotten totally adult towards that last episode was just an adult show.
That's just like what was that other Star Wars show that was for kids? That I don't care what it was, I didn't watch it.
Well,
it was the
Resistance.
They made
Resistance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That show. I didn't care. I didn't care anything about that show.
It wasn't too bad though. If you watch
it was pretty good.
It's not bad, but it go. You know, it's I guess it's dealing with because it's got BB-8 in it. So that was the main draw of it, and it's showing still a kid's point of view where he's trying to become a part of the resistance, and he's giving information to that would have been Andor at that time. So that's who he's giving his information to. No, actually it isn't. Who is he giving information to? The pilot guy. Not Ray, but
Poe Dameron?
Dameron, yeah, that's who's a part of that show.
Yeah, that show takes place between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That was during Poe and Finn.
Yeah.
And look, what did they do to them? They just been trying to make them lovers.
Look, we're not gonna get into that. We're not.
Yeah, I heard that.
So,
wow.
we kind of covered a little bit more ground. Did you guys want to come back and do a part 2 to Trek? Or
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Oh, okay.
There's a lot more to go with that. Like we said, there's still
we haven't really even talked about the battles or the Dominion War. We haven't really touched on that.
I wanted to hear your opinion of the Abrams Star Trek too, but we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Why do we gotta stop?
I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Look, it's an hour, bro. We normally do 30 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
So look, March 8th, guys, 8:00. We'll try this again.
That's the plan.
And we will talk about the Dominion War and everything else that's going on. right?
Right.
Okay.
And
Sounds good.
for those of you who have not watched Lower Decks, is that anybody? Everybody seen it?
I have not watched it all.
Okay,
No
well, at
clue
least
what it
try to
is.
watch at least a couple of minutes of an episode and
Look,
get.
I've watched that, but I was watching Prodigy when they sat there and they in neutral space, and look the Romulans.
Yeah, don't tell them more. I ain't seen that part yet.
Oh, you ain't seen that?
No.
Oh
Look,
my God!
I got on Picard's
Me
thing
neither.
and Star Trek United, the Facebook page, has started blowing up. We'll be doing shows for United on that page, and the Klingon page has been just blowing up. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Lower Decks probably won't be that cup of tea.
Look, everybody needs to watch Prodigy.
Yeah.
Prodigy ain't no joke. It's a
Look, there's only 14 episodes of that, right?
It's a kid's
All of
show
that stuff
on
is on Paramount,
Nickelodeon,
right?
but
Yeah.
y'all need to watch
Paramount
Prodigy.
service.
Prodigy ain't no
Paramount?
joke.
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus.
Right. Okay.
All right, then, guys.
And
Let's wrap it
Nickelodeon.
up. And next week, in 2 weeks, we meet back here and we'll discuss
The State of
the
Trek.
rest of this stuff and try to contain Bishop as much as we can because we obviously see this is his niche.
It's Star Trek.
Look at him. Yeah.
Look,
Marky Mark. Look,
I don't
Marky
care
Mark.
about
He
you
was trying to recruit
Mandalorians.
me. He was trying to recruit me to do Star Trek Attack Wing.
Oh, okay.
If he grabs me, I'm grabbing you, and then we have to grab Rashard.
Look, hey, there we go.
You know I'm down to ride regardless.
All right, guys.
All right.
I'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Hair people.